Okay, so today I'm going to make a video showing how to install the LUX brand bump start kit on a KLX110. This one in particular is a 2008. Now with these, there's two different brands that you can buy. There's pretty much the LUX brand, and then the other brand that's really popular is called Faster Minis. The Faster Minis one, the only difference between the two is the Faster Mini ones comes with an adapter for this wire that plugs in right up here, and then comes down and grounds itself to the little block off plate. The LUX brand one, however, doesn't come with that. It just comes with this little wire connector. So yeah, I've never installed one of these before, but I did some research. I know how to do it. I had some guys help me. And there was no videos on exactly how to install this brand one because it doesn't have the adapter. So you have to cut the wires and then reconnect the wire using this wire connect. So I was just going to make a short little video explaining it, just a teeny more complex than the Faster Minis one. The reason I bought this one over the Faster Minis one is because they were out of stock of the Faster Minis black version of this. And I wanted a black block off plate, so I got the LUX brand one. So I also like the design a little more on this one, how it's concaved here. Anyways, we'll get right to installing this here. So just go ahead and ignore like everything else I have going on here. I took off my flywheel plate, or the flywheel cover, and I'm repainting it and doing a small JB Weld patch job on it that I accidentally effed up. But so ignore everything else here. What I did do is I went ahead and I took the chain and the sprocket off already. It's just really quick. It took like 30 seconds. You disconnect your chain and then you pull the sprocket off, and it just gives you a little more room to work in here. And most likely this is going to be super, super dirty. I already wiped a lot of mine off with some brake clean, and I took a wire brush to it. But the first thing you'll do is you'll take these screws out. There's two of them. And they're not that long, and don't lose them, obviously. And then there's one on the top here. And kind of hold this in when you pull the top screw out. There's a little tiny little spring in there that I'll show you. And it won't like jump out at you, but just sometimes if they can be a little loose and they can kind of spring out. But you'll carefully pull it out. There's gonna be a rubber grommet in here, and then a little pin. So here's what the back of the block off plate looks like. Here's that pin I was talking about, and then here's the rubber grommet. So don't lose that. And this you can actually just take and just put right on the back of the new block off plate that we have here, just so we don't lose it, and we'll install it like that too. And then this pin, you can take it out. Be super careful if you do take it out. There's it's spring loaded. So here's what the pin looks like. My camera will focus here. It's not focusing, but there's a little tiny spring in there, and that'll jump out at you if you're not careful. So most likely everything in here is going to be super dirty for you. I had this apart not too long ago, and I had it all cleaned out and stuff. So you can see I can push in on that with that little spring. But so now we'll go ahead and disconnect this. That wasn't tight on there. But go ahead and disconnect this. And it'll make it easier to just cut the wires and stuff. Now what I'm gonna do with this is I'm just gonna take a pair of snippers and just cut this zip tie off. They're usually pretty tight on there. Let's see here. All right, and now we have a little better access to our wires here. Okay, so I'm gonna you can see I started to pull on this a little bit off camera, but I'm gonna take it and just pull some of this out and see if I can give myself, I'm not gonna reuse this, or I'm pretty much just gonna throw it away when I'm done. So I'm just gonna see if I can give myself as much wire as possible here. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of pick this apart, and then maybe get a little more access to the wires. It's not really necessary to do this. I just like to have a little more than a little less. So okay, so I've got a little more access to my wires here. You can see they would have been tucked down in there. So it just gives me a little extra wire. And now we can just go ahead and we'll cut these off. Sorry about that, that's a Bluetooth speaker. Go ahead and just nip those off, throw the other piece away, and I'm gonna clean up some of this white stuff here. So just 1 second. Okay, so now I've got the wires cleaned up a little bit. I'm gonna cut this little piece of black tubing just a little bit to give myself a little more room to strip the wire. It's pretty dirty in there. So I'm gonna just take this back just a little bit. That's probably good enough. And trim it. And then this blue connector connects to this light green wire. So that'll go on there like this. And then you can just forget about this dark green and brown wire. You can just, I'm probably just gonna cut mine off so you can't see it. Okay, so now I'll go ahead and strip the green wire. This light green one is the one we need. And it looks like probably, I'm gonna go with 14 gauge wire. So there we go. So strip a little bit of it and then get your blue crimp. Make sure it can go in there. And then you'll crimp that down with a pair of pliers. Probably got a better pair of pliers that I could use on this, but that'll work. Just make sure it's nice and tight. Test it to make sure it doesn't pull out. I think we're good with that. And then you can nip this green and brown wire off. Just like that. I'm probably gonna throw a little electrical tape around here and then we'll install it. Okay, so now we'll go ahead and install, we'll clip this back in. I've got it, mine all electrical taped up with probably an overly excessive amount of electrical tape. Go ahead and plug this back in. Make sure it's tight this time. Yep. And then take the block off plate, make sure you have your O-ring on there, and then also make sure that your spring is in there. You can test that by pushing on the pin. So you have your pin, your spring, your O-ring, and connector. So you'll go ahead and push this in. It'll kind of pop into place. You'll feel it kind of seat, just like that. And then turn it to align the holes up a little better. That looks pretty good. And now the screws go back in. So put the top one in first, and this connector is going to go right here on it. Connect mine to the top. And then the bottom screw. And oopsies. My fingers aren't working today, it's cold out. So that's pretty much it. After you get the screws in, make sure they're nice and snug. My bottom one's a little stripped. It looks like the chain hit it at one point. So make sure those are nice and snugged up. Probably hold your wire on the top. It's pretty good. So yeah, I'll put my chain and sprocket back on. I'm almost done painting this, so I'll get that back on. And then I'll probably test it after that, but that should be the proper way to set it up. So hopefully this video helped someone out. So yeah, have a good day.